I define mental health as almost like mental fitness, how you feel or how you behave.
I think there's different aspects of mental health that people will like read about, but for me, mental health is being happy.
Mental health is a really relative term because everybody defines it in a different way.
It's just like how if you feel good, you feel bad, you feel some type of way. It's just, that's how you kind of gauge it. It's just, I think it's really important.
That's a tough one. To me, it's mental health is the thoughts and battles of dealing with stuff in your own way. Everyone can suffer in different ways and have different experiences.
I think if you can be in a happier place more than being in a dark and sad place, then that's where I look at mental health, is just being happy and finding those mechanisms that can keep you happy.
It goes hand in hand with physical health. You know, you gotta look after your mind and your body.
People go through different feelings and emotions and deal with it in their own respective way as well.
It can be with anything, as small as you may think. Everyone suffers in some way.
Well, I've been going through for my entire life. I have ADHD, so you know it affects all areas of my life.
I've had experiences with depression before, but during the lockdown period, being out of my normal routine, being able to train every day, go coach, my mind was obviously just in overdrive, being sat at home, and I went into a deep depression.
You know, from a personal experience, I've been through difficult moments in the past. I've suffered with depression in the past.
I mean, I had one very close to home, obviously, you know, with my own son. You know, Kalen's spoken openly about what he's been through, and sometimes you just go through day to day thinking that everything's okay, but sometimes, you know, just asking a question or trying to get people to open up is not that easy.
So this year's been a strange year. Lockdown caused some catastrophic changes in our lifestyles. There's been some real positives, I think, but some real uncertainty, and I think that's probably the most difficult thing is not knowing what the future lies.
You gotta learn to stop fighting it, accept it, and learn to roll with it. So once I did that, it helped me out a lot.
And I don't feel like I'm strange or different for having gone through that. I think lots of people go through it at different stages in their life. They go through ups and downs.
You know, I was fighting with thoughts of just me being a failure, because you set yourself targets, like especially when you're younger, and for me, I was always in the spotlight when I was younger, so there was a lot expected of me, and although, like, you know, I've turned out to be a professional basketball player, I'm doing something I love. You know, when I was younger, the expectation was like, yeah, Kalen's gonna go to Division 1 college in America. Kalen's got like a shot at maybe going NBA. Like,
I've dealt with players over the years from junior level up to senior level, and you know, they've all had to cope with different levels of mental struggles.
Talking about it is obviously one of the most important things, and that's not necessarily, for me, it's not necessarily always talking to a person about it, but it may be writing things down or making notes, or, you know, not something that I do, but some people would like to share those feelings across social media, which is you know, actually quite a public way of sharing those things, but for them it feels like a quite cathartic process.
I think the most important part is you've got to understand you're not alone. You know, people will want to help you, and you've got to be, you know, you've got to take that risk and trust that going to speak to somebody is going to be something good for you.
It has been a very, very difficult year for so many people, and mental health has never been more important, in my opinion, because so many people are going through so much change.
Reach out, ask for help. There's no shame in it. I know it might feel embarrassing, or, you know, there's the whole stigma, you know, for men, and then men in sports, you know, you gotta be tough, you hold everything in. That's how I was, you know, and I got out of that. I reached out, I asked, you know, a sports psychologist, anything like that, talking to my fiance, just that helps, you know, on a daily basis. So
my advice for anyone who's struggling, as little as you may think the issue is to just speak up, speak out, speak to someone that you trust, or if it's not someone close to you. And I found it hard speaking to people that were like immediately close to me, because I always felt like they're gonna tell me what I want to hear. Find someone who you can trust and can be that outlet, because just sometimes speaking about things like it releases off all those bad energies that you may be feeling and thinking.
And I'd recommend that for obviously for everyone. It's not always the easiest, and I think that different coping mechanisms of sharing your stresses, your anxieties, your fears, again, whether it's anything creative or just telling someone, I think is vitally important.
The generation we live in, for young people, with social media, that everyone tries to create that perception that things are okay. And I think because there is this perception that every single person you know has got their life figured out, that it's actually a weakness if you are struggling or going through a difficult time, and you are wary about reaching out to your friends and family who look like they've got it figured out at 22 or at 19.
Those young people, with all the pressures that are out there, the social media and so forth, I just say to you, you've got to speak. Whether you speak to a friend, whether you speak to a coach, whether you speak to a teacher, whether you speak to an uncle, an aunt, a brother, a sister, you've got to take that time out to speak to somebody and just let them know how you're feeling. That's that the Surrey Scorchers have decided to introduce the Timeout initiative. Obviously in basketball we call it timeout if we need to communicate and get a message across and make things better. So by starting this timeout initiative, we're hoping that we'll get people to speak about what they're feeling and to share and come out of these dark places. So stay in tune, and we'll have a lot more on our timeout initiative moving forward.
Timeout.
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 Timeout.